This is the main field at Camp House Farm. I'll take you over to the edge. It doesn't go as far as you can see. It goes as far this way as you can see, though. You can see the chicken coop down there. I'll just walk you along here and we'll take a look at all the vegetables. These are the zucchini plants. They're coming along super good now. Down the row there you can see the yellow flowers. I planted some dill in here. They're supposed to go with these guys on the trellis. About a quarter of this is just normal cucumbers, and then the last 3/4 is all pickling cucumbers. Over here we have the greenhouse that I built. In there is a good 500 tomato plants, all heirloom varieties. Some cherry tomatoes too. I'll do another video of just tomatoes because there's a lot. These 3 beds here were spring beds. I tried to replant some spinach in here, but it's really not going. That's more lettuce that's done. It was radish and bok choy. Here we have, this trellis was supposed to be snap peas, but that failed. So we pulled out half the snap peas and we planted some purple bean plants. They kind of died at first, but they're going now. So hopefully they come along. The beans are also going pretty slow. This is a row of some Swiss chard. And then down there it's black kale, and at the end it's curly kale. For the fall I have 3 full rows, 1 of each of those. So that's when you'll get those hardy greens. Here is the pod peas. They only went for about 2 weeks. I'm not sure if I picked them wrong or something. I'm gonna try those again next year because they were pretty good. There was lots when they came, but in here is the broccolini. This is quite a bit of work, but probably one of my favorite crops. I have to take this off and put it on every time I harvest, and I have to harvest twice a week. It's also in a tarp so the bugs can't come in from the dirt. There's 4 different pests, I think, that all go for the broccolini, so, but worth it, I think. Here is celery, just a ton of celery. It's supposed to be the hardest crop to grow, so we'll see how it goes. It's going pretty good now. It's just a matter of keeping it wet, but I also think the heat is difficult. It also takes forever. I started that by seed in March, and it's still just looking okay now, but little tiny celery. It tastes pretty good, actually. Here is the last bed of spring carrots. You can see the shovel where we left off, and the other half was purple top turnips. So this bed is almost done. Then we got 2 rows of beets. They look weedy. That's just because we're picking them now, so there's no sense in staying on top of the weeds. They're actually pretty good. They will be in the box this week. These are the summer carrots. They're actually pretty big. I could start getting them now, but I'd like to finish the spring carrots first. Then we have a whole bunch of onions. I think these are shallots, the first ones. I planted these first 3 rows by seed really early, March 10th. And it's been a bit of an experiment to see if you can do it from seed. We did it in Abbotsford by seed, and that was pretty good. So this is leeks here. They're also going pretty good, and I started them by seed as well. And then these 2 rows I started from onion sets. But between them, I think there's sweet onions, cooking onions, red onions, shallots, and more sweet onions down there. A little bit of kohlrabi down there as well. All the beds kind of, when I ran out of seedlings, I hate to leave it, so I just plant a little bit of something random. This is parsnips. Parsnips are just crazy. They take forever, and you have to just keep weeding them, and they're tiny. But again, I think it's worth it. And these couple beds are just a whole mishmash of things. A little bit of fennel right here. I think that was another try at spinach. We got tons of green onions. The white flowers are cilantro that's gone to seed. It's not too weedy, so I'm going to keep them and hopefully get some coriander out of that. Dill. There is pearl onions, red onions, parsley down there, more dill. Another try at cilantro. Another try at spinach. I think I'm just going to start planting spinach into trays and transplanting it because it's been frustrating. These two beds are actually almost done. There's a little bit of kohlrabi in this bed. This bed has kind of been my succession of head lettuce. That one little patch of weeds was head lettuce that we brought to the market this week, and there is baby lettuce down there. But I think we're taking a pause off of head lettuce for this heat because it's hard to keep it not bitter. And no one likes bitter lettuce. Well, some people do, but just a little bit bitter. These are the pole beans. As I said, I think I needed to help them get onto the mesh, or maybe give them real poles or something, because my dad took some seed for me and he has beans already, and these are not close to having beans yet. This whole row here is cabbage. This one is Brussels sprouts. All of them have the same pests as broccoli, so all of them is kind of a bunch of work. But these cabbages I planted early, so there's a cone cabbage, and once you pick the cone cabbage, you get a bunch of little cone cabbages, which are really nice because you can just have a small cabbage to put in. And then I planted a bunch of red cabbage close together to get smaller red cabbage. Then down there will be a little bit bigger red cabbage. This is a try at field tomatoes. They said it's not really possible here because a blight will kill them just when you get the tomatoes, but I'm hoping because they have tarp so the dirt can't smash up on them that it will work. There's actually some pretty good tomatoes in here. So they actually look like they're getting ready to turn color. There's another greenhouse up top that I have that they are turning color. I got my first 2 quarts of tomatoes yesterday. This will be the storage cabbage. These will be big cabbages. And then this row isn't planted yet, but that's going to be cauliflower. Cauliflower, those seeds are just tiny seedlings now. You really want that to come ready just in the cold. So then here I tried to do the Three Sisters mix, but the corn is a popcorn, so once it grows up, I let it dry on the stalk, and apparently you can just put the cob in a paper bag and microwave it and you get popcorn. So that's a total experiment. I also experimented with a lot of drying beans. So the drying beans are supposed to climb up the corn. They're doing okay, but I think the corn got too much of a head start, so they might be shading out the beans. And then the winter squash, which is also the third sister, really didn't do good. It got eaten by cucumber beetles as seedlings. So there's just a couple. There's supposed to be nearly 1,000 winter squash plants of all pretty expensive seed that I bought because I was all excited about winter squash. So that's the main disappointment so far. Here, these are little yellow watermelons, and they are doing surprisingly well. That's kind of a nice thing to happen after those, because these seedlings weren't good. And this is cantaloupes. There's tons of flowers, and there's baby watermelon. So if this heat keeps up, we might get some of those. This is a row of, and down there's butternut squash, the bigger, and they actually somehow beat the cucumber beetle, and they're doing good. This whole row is peppers and eggplants. There is actually peppers on here. This is actually supposed to be a purple pepper, so that's exciting and super early. There's actually a few hot peppers. I didn't do a very good variety of hot peppers. I just did banana peppers. So I'm going to do more peppers next year. And then this row here is ground cherries. I'm hoping to be able to just sweep them and they fall off the plant into my troughs here. And then these two beds I'm getting ready for more broccolini, some fall broccolini.